What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 award winner in the innovation category given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Now, as of Tuesday, as of yesterday, April 7th, we're live on April 8th. I am co-host of monthly fatherhood broadcasts that are sponsored by Doveman Care Canada. So you know what? I know everyone's inside. You got to make the best of it. But most important thing, self-care and keep your distance. All right? Keep your distance and do things right. We have another new friend on the Dr. Vibe Show tonight. And everyone knows who watches this on a regular basis. I love new friends. So we have another new friend tonight. Her name is Lady Day. She's a fresh new face in comedy after years of having stand-up on her bucket list. She finally took the plunge last year and was instantly hooked. She performed at several comedy shows and inserts her humor wherever she can. Her perspective is, quote, it's better to laugh than cry, unquote. And definitely this is a good conversation at this time. And that's a foundation for her comedy. She brings humor to our audience through stories that anyone can relate to, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. Oh my. Separate from her day job working in mental health, in her spare time, Lady Day is a motivational speaker with a focus on building resilience. Like that, applying her funny bone to speaking, Lady Day is known in the speaking world by her name, Natasha Halliday, and she speaks using humor to build resistance. So, welcome for the first time and not the last time, Lady Day. How you doing, Lady Day?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, the pleasure is mine, and I'll mention it here, but we'll also mention at the end. Lady Day is going to be one of the performers, feature performers, on the April Fool's Bun and Cheese online comedy edition. It's happening Sunday, April 12th, 2020. This is Sunday, Easter Sunday at 5:30 p.m. While you're eating your bun and cheese, Lady Day and other comedians are going to be dropping laughter big time. So just go to April Fool's Bun and Cheese, look it up online. If you go to my website with the post that is promoting this conversation, you'll see the image, click on the image, and it's a free online event. Can't go wrong. So Lady Day, how are we doing? What you been up to today?
I worked from home today. So I did some online counseling and I used my lunch hour to run an errand. And that proved very interesting because it's very close to Easter and it's currently the beginning of Passover. And we're in a pandemic and the grocery store hours are reduced. And so I felt like I had to line up just to get in my car. I clearly didn't, but everything was slow. So I was able to accomplish one of my goals today on my lunch hour and get back to get into work. Yeah, just got a bit of paperwork done and had a little bit of leisure time before the show started.
Excellent. Actually, I went out today to a Costco just to get my propane tank refilled. I should have took a picture of the line.
Yeah, Costco this time of year, you're brave.
Right? And I live 5 minutes from a Costco in Toronto, in the GTA. I said, I'm not gonna wait 45 minutes to get a propane refill because you have to buy it at the counter. The place for the propane itself, there's no one there, but it's the line to get in to purchase
Right.
the service. That's the challenge. I said, no, when it got done somewhere else for about $3 more. But I said, you know what? Time is the most valuable thing I have. So I said, done deal. Nothing
That's
more.
me like almost every other week with gas. If
Pardon
the
me?
Costco line is long, if that's me with gas, if the Costco line is long, I'm like, I'll spend a few extra cents. I can't wait.
I don't mind waiting because I'm blessed because I live 5 minutes from a Costco. So what I do is a lot of times right now you don't have to worry because no one's buying gas because no one's traveling anywhere. But uh, other times I'll go like 6 o'clock in the morning when it's not that busy. I'm good. I'm good. But enough about gas. Enough about lockdown. Let's hear more about you. Give us a little background about yourself, where you grew up, family, etc. We like to do that for the first time friends are on the show.
So I'm born and raised in Toronto. I have Caribbean parents, and I have one small island parent and one large island parent. So I'm divided on the argument because I represent both sides. So I get to plead neutrality in that argument. Um, I very typical blended Caribbean family and lived a very interesting Caribbean life. For anybody who meets me and thinks I have a big personality, I tell them that I am a tenth of what my mother is, which people don't believe because I have a large personality. And then they meet her and they're like, oh, and it all starts to make sense. So all the humor, all the animation, all the brave, courageous, outgoing, outlandish type stuff, I get it all from my mom.
What was it like growing up with Small Island and Big Island parents?
Well, my mom's from Jamaica and my dad's from an Eastern Caribbean island called St. Kitts.
Okay.
Um, Absolutely beautiful because it's on the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, and it's just almost everywhere you are, you see water. It's stunning.
Yeah.
Um, but when the big personality is also from the big island, I probably was in my teens to early 20s when I started learning that some of the fruits and veggies and stuff that I just thought was universally named across both islands. No, it's just the Jamaican dominated, and no, Kitchens call it different. So I felt like I was getting a vocabulary lesson as I got older and started to interact with more Kitchens and
Right.
learn that no, that's not what they call it. And I really thought the accents were really similar because I didn't hear that many differences because my dad moved from St. Kitts to St. Thomas to Canada, and he'd already started to have a little bit of a blended, diffused accent. And no, again, I once set foot in St. Kitts and I was like, wow, it's very different. Um, so I feel that I was much more influenced by the Jamaican part of my heritage because my mom is the dominant personality, and that's where most of the cultural influences came from. And really, you're going to see more of Jamaican culture in Toronto than you are going to see Kittitian culture. You'd
True.
have to kind of search for it to find Kittitian culture here in the GTA.
So I'm gonna throw something out here, and you tell me if am right or wrong. Growing up with West Indian parents, did they stress education a little bit?
Um, my let me put this. My mother was very much of the, the expectation is you graduate high school, you go to post-secondary school, and she left it at that. My dad's side of the family has lots of people with doctor in front of their name.
Oh
And
wow.
like in our family chat and WhatsApp, one of my cousins will say it's Dr. Halliday. We're all Hallidays. You don't need to say doctor to your family, but this is the type of thing. So I actually completed my master's degree in 2018. And my dad's first question, are you going for your doctorate? And I'm like, so dad, do you really know if I need a doctorate? Do you know if I want a doctorate? Or are you finally seeing a chance to compete with some of your brothers, like who have kids who have their PhD? So education is very big. And on top of it is they're educators on my dad's side of the family. Almost everybody's in healthcare or in education. And so I decided to do them one better, and I do all of the above. I've taught in college, I work in healthcare. I was just like, I'll just do it all and then I'll fit totally in. And I've gotten to have a taste of all of it.
Wow. 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 So the pressure was on from day one.
Yep.
And how did you handle it?
Um, I my dad's a workaholic or was a workaholic, and I definitely inherited that trait. So I was a busy young person. I would by grade 9 I was leaving the house at like 7 in the morning because I had practice for some kind of sport, and I was coming home at almost 7 o'clock at night because I had practice for band or choir or dance. And I just lived this very busy life. I did all kinds of sports. I was in the plays, I was in the musicals, I played in the band, I sang in the choir, I was on the dance troupe.
What?
So yeah, I didn't know anything named sleep,
Yes.
and I still sleep and I have not become friends. I'm a busy person. Um, but I enjoy my busyness. So I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I really enjoy all the things I'm doing, and I feel blessed to have access to what I have access to. Um, but yeah, definitely there was a lot to juggle, and that was kind of I picked it up pretty quickly. By grade 10, I think I got a part-time job, and it was juggling extracurriculars and school. and my job. It was a busy time in life. Not to mention Sundays were a lock off because I grew up Pentecostal, which meant that I was in church from 9 o'clock Sunday morning till 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, just to go home, have somebody fry chicken at whatever house I was at, stink of fried chicken to go back for evening service. So Sundays were a complete write off.
Like, did you enjoy your childhood? Because it's like you're doing. Did you get a chance to
Absolutely.
enjoy?
Absolutely. I had a fantastic childhood. And my mom was ill, so I mean there's some things that weren't pleasant, but like I have so many pleasant memories. I really do.
Excellent. What are some things that your parents instilled in you when you were young that you still carry today?
I learned the value of a death stare. That's absolutely
That's
first.
the first time I've asked that question to many new friends, and that's the first time that drop the mic right there.
So I grew up in a household where my mom was a firm believer that corporal punishment was not an option. And
Wow.
my dad spanked me once and my mom cussed him. And in retrospect, it was a fear response. So when I was 5, I still actually remember doing this. Like I would have licked me. So I stood on the street, I stood on the curb. I looked to my left. I saw a car coming down the street and determined I could run across the street before the car got down there.
Right.
Only problem is I tripped.
Oh.
So this car comes jerking to a stop with the curb right above my head. And
Oh.
my dad witnesses his 5-year-old almost get run over.
Oh.
I'm sure he was shaking and in fear he spanked me. Well, my mother very clearly told him, "We're not spank for we picnic," and cussed him and gave me a banana and sent me back out to play. But I deserved at least some kind of talking to. I don't necessarily condone spanking either, but I deserved at least a firm talking to because I made a conscious decision that put my life in jeopardy. And albeit I was working with the limited mindset of a 5-year-old, but I clearly remember anticipating that I had the ability to make it across the street in time, not thinking about the potentiality of tripping.
Wow.
So because I was not spanked, other than that one time,
Right.
it was the death stare that did it. And I remember being probably in my early 20s once and going to an event with my parents, and somebody offered me something to drink. And I remember looking at my mother first, and she's like, "Wait, I look pan me for." And I was like, and I realized at that point, it was so ingrained the check with mom and dad first.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, my mother's eyes, if they could patent what she had in her eyes, there would be no need to beat your kids because they could just have a parent put on glasses and give them Eileen's eyes, and every kid would be well behaved
Wow.
because she put the fear of God and gods I didn't believe in me with them eyes.
Okay. Let's talk about how did you get involved in the world of mental health? I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think it's very integral in what you're doing comedy wise right now.
So truthfully, my first thoughts were based on being a younger sister. My big sister wanted to be a child psychologist, and I wanted to do anything my big sister wanted to do. So I went with I could be a lawyer. I always knew I wanted to help people. And I said I could be a lawyer or I could be a psychologist. And I, in my very early age, started to learn that law books were boring and I'd rather read about the human mind. And I opted out of law. And then I actually was a psych major to start, and that didn't go very well. But I still ended up working in the helping field and working in mental health. And it's totally the right fit. It's where I should be. It's what I think I was called to do.
I hope, and I'm speaking that I can have you on a separate conversation, just talking about that area of your life. But
Absolutely.
how did you get involved in the world of comedy? Because, this is working mental health is such formal, serious intent. How did the comedy world jump into that?
Well, I think the only way to survive working in mental health is to have a little bit of a dark sense of humor.
Okay.
So me and everybody I work with, we're all the cable guy. Because if you don't have a little bit of a twisted sense of humor, it is hard to hear that much tragedy, trauma, and hardship in a day. And our brains are like, cisterns, all that dumping in of all that awful stuff. You have to have a way of offsetting it. And so one of the things I found that everywhere I've worked, it's been having a bit of humor. A hospital I work at, I started there, and at the time I was working inpatient, and within maybe 6 or 7 months, SARS hit. And one of our coping strategies was on the back of the door, we put, it's been SARS too long when, and we just started putting in stuff that we thought was funny. And that was part of what got us through the day when we were getting hot in our masks and our gowns and all that kind of stuff. And so I've always found that humor has been one of the ways that we create some balance with what we might face working in mental health.
So just want to shout out some people that are watching the conversation live. We have Bish Funny, who was the lady behind the event on Sunday, and she goes, "We now spank for we picnic." She goes, quote of the day, she's saying. So yeah, thank you. Bish
and she
Funny.
knows my parents well, so she knows that anything.
Okay.
We've been friends for 31 years. She knows anything. Yeah, this is my best friend of 31 years, Bish Funny. She knows anything my mother said usually goes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, okay, just out of curiosity, do you remember how you two first met?
Yeah, we met in school.
All right.
And we were in a private school. So basically, everybody who had color immediately became aligned. It was a small school, and we were definitely in the minority. And so there was an instant alliance amongst all the Black students.
Understood.
Yeah.
Also want to shout out on the Get Vocal platform, Janelle Renee and Anthony. If you have any questions or comments, please type them in on the side. And Bish Funny, we feel like you're sitting with us, even though you're just watching with us. You're there with us on the YouTube platform. So mental health, you say you need to have a Black sense of humor, but when did you start thinking about getting into comedy?
So I used to joke with one of my colleagues at another place that I work at, where we've had some less than fortunate experiences in the dating world. And so I used to joke with her that we were gonna go on tour and just talk about what we'd experienced, because it's comedy in itself. And I said it, and then I kind of really thought, you know what, I want to try it once. And I finally got the opportunity in the summer, and legitimately preparing for it was thinking, this is a bucket list thing. I'm so excited I get to scratch this off of my list of things I said I wanted to do. But oh, what a difference. Once it was done, I was like, I have got to do this again. And so then that just changed. It just changed the landscape. Then I wanted to be involved in comedy and try it out some more.
What is up, Mr. Kinte? Kinte is in the room. Kinte, myself, and Lady Day had a great conversation yesterday. And Kinte, if you want to come in the room, just message me on the side. Now, it was on your bucket list, but what gave you the impetus to put it on your bucket list? Like, it just did it just snap? I want to do this. Was there some influences? Did you see other comedians? Were you doing like comedy with friends and they were responding? How did that initial idea start to become reality?
So I think part of it, people have always said I was funny, and that's one thing, but I recognize that being funny and being able to make people laugh in a comedy setting is very different. Okay. Usually you're friends with people who are like-minded, have similar kind of ideas. So what I find funny is usually what they find funny. Put me in a room with a diverse group of people who don't know me, then it's a matter of trying to make most of those people laugh. I don't necessarily think if I'm in a room with 100 people, I'm going to make all 100 laugh every time. But how do you construct something that is universally funny? And I've always respected comedy as a skill set and not just brushed off the fact that I can be funny with my friends means I can be funny on stage. But fortunately, the unfortunate part of my dating life, just the comedy writes itself. So I was
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. but
Oh, it's okay.
I'm
I
already
can laugh
getting a
at me.
picture. I'm already getting a picture of what Sunday's show is going to be like. But we'll leave it at that. So
Yeah.
so you decided you want to do it, did you ask
Yeah.
anyone's opinion about getting involved in comedy?
Well, the original show involved Bish Funny, and she kind of took me under her wing and,
Okay.
did a bit of coaching. And, she had already been doing comedy, and she would come and rehearse some of her stuff with me. And so I'd already been through that process with her. So then it was a matter of going, okay, I think this is a funny story. Because I initially, the idea of calling myself a comedian wasn't something that I really thought about. I was just like, I'm just going to go tell stories that are funny.
Yeah.
And so it was just being able to do that and recognizing that I am a storyteller.
Yes.
I'm clearly verbose. I'm sure you've seen that already. And that I can construct a story, but if there's humor in it, that's even better, right? So that's what I was aiming to do. And so it was because Bish Funny kind of did some coaching with me, it made it a lot easier to step into that process, right? And like I said, the first time I did it, we did one open mic night. That in itself was very interesting because I have, like, I literally felt heavy in my spirit being in that place. It was
Mm.
a very sad group of individuals. I just thought, if I am not funnier than these people, I'm never doing comedy because there were some people struggling, but I understand it's a skill. So you have to work at your skill. And that's precisely what they're doing. And I respect them for that. It's just the night we happened to go was sad. So I just thought, I hope I'm better than this. I did a few minutes. Somebody recorded it. And so when I watched it back, because what I've noticed is when I'm on stage, I don't hear the laughter. When I watch a video afterwards, I was like, oh, look how many people were laughing. Like there's a lot of people who found that funny. So I don't notice all of that when I'm actually doing it. I can pick up enough because I really would hate to have a joke totally bomb and miss it and keep going or something. Fortunately, that hasn't happened. Um, but the experience for me was just kind of translating my storytelling skills, adding humor, taking that one attempt with the open mic, and then going and actually doing it. And because I had Bish Funny working with me, it made it a lot easier.
Well, this is a revelation for me because I've known Bish Funny a little bit for the last few years. So when this comedy thing came up, I said, I had no idea. This is like it's a new, you learn something new every day. So I'm going, I can't wait to see her on the mic or listen to her, watch her on the mic. And actually, she's
You're
saying
gonna love her.
about your high school days, survival of the blackest was the way we lived. And
Absolutely.
she also said, I
That
think,
probably helped develop our ability to be funny because that was a survival tactic in itself.
right, right.
Racist teachers trying to tell me to take general math. I'll tell you who to take general math. Don't look at the color of my skin and tell me what my subject is or what level I should be at.
Wow, good.
Yeah.
She says, I think when you're naturally funny, friends always say you should do stand up. And she also says, re-coaching. I remember that you cussed me good one time. You want to talk about that?
So what had happened was um, I had 4 deaths in about a month in the summer. And we were rehearsing when I was raw. And I should have actually said no. And I decided I was going to, like I always do, oh, I'm just going to try and push through it. And I was not in the space to do it. And so her saying, okay, let's try this again. Let's this. It was, everything was too much in that moment. And when you've been friends with somebody for that long, you don't have trouble being vocal with them. So I got vocal and I let her know that I was not having it. But truthfully, what I should have done was taken responsibility for the fact that I wasn't in the space to even have been there to do it.
When did you start realizing that comedy? I think good comedy is a science.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just getting up there. There's a technique. There's ways to, the way that you're doing up there because you're standing up there and you're sharing stories and you're hoping to get laughter or reaction. So like some of the things that maybe Bish taught you, or so, what are some of the things you've learned along the journey about comedy that you did not know when you first started?
Actually, one of the best lessons I learned before I started doing comedy, because I've been very clear with my colleagues. I use humor in my work with many of my clients, and I can because I've managed to do it well. But I said it's not for everybody. But what I've learned is the art of mixing your tone, your expression, your intonation, your body language. All of that becomes part of how you package the comedy. And so Sunday will be interesting because we're doing it online, and I'll be, I'm used to be standing on the stage and moving around, and I don't necessarily get to do that on Sunday. So it's going to
No.
be a little bit more of a challenge,
Yeah.
but I'm up for it. But really, the biggest lesson I learned was with my interactions with my clients and being able to see how, you said that mental health can be very formal, um, and it can, but I find the more I interject a little bit about who I really am and more of my personality, the more my clients tell me, they're like, I'm way more comfortable when you do that,
Mm.
because they're used to that cold kind of staunch, very formalized. And we're asking people to share the deepest, darkest parts of their life, but not trying to create a space that they feel comfortable in necessarily in order to say we're being professional. I don't do anything that I think is necessarily unprofessional, but I can challenge what people would call professional. That's for sure.
Take us back with your memories of the first time you did a formal performance, and where was it? How were you nervous before you went on stage? How was the feeling after? Can you share some of that moment with us?
Yes, it was summer, which did not help for the not wanting to sweat because when I'm nervous, I feel hot already. Um, so we're at a place in Whitby. And what was interesting was I was one of the first people on. And so there was a bit of a rip the band-aid, but there was a bit of a, oh my God, like what am I going to do? Right. But the nice thing is once I started, I just fell in line with the storytelling and giving, because I'm like, I've told some of these stories over and over again and people always laugh, and I truthfully laugh almost every time I tell them, because I'm like, I sometimes feel like, they talk about Murphy's law. I sometimes feel
Yes.
like Murphy has an extra team just on my life, because I'm like, how do this many ridiculous things happen? But then as I talk to other women, I'm like, no, lots of women deal with all of this foolishness in their dating lives. Maybe not quite as colorful as some of my experiences, but I'm like, but that's the beauty. I get to then take it on stage and get other people to laugh. And what a gift to be able to make people laugh and break some of the tensions we face day to day.
Wow. Wow. So when we've spoken about this beforehand, but what were your parents' thoughts when you told them you're going to go for this, even on the side? What were their thoughts?
I haven't told them.
Who? What?
I honestly,
What?
it's completely just slipping my mind. Every time I think of it, I'm like, I still have yet to tell them what I'm doing. They don't live in Toronto anymore. They've moved out of town. So it's not like they would be coming to any of the shows. My mother is very well aware and really loves the fact that her humorous nature is carried into my conversations with my friends. So she'll say something funny and she'll say to me, are you going to tell so and so? You're going to tell that person? Because she has, some people some of my friends that really stick out in her head. And when I stick out in her head, Bish is one of the only people she calls by name, because probably the length of time she's noticed. My mom remembers nobody's name, down to the point where my mother can't remember the coronavirus. She calls her Miss C. Even Corona, she can't call right. This Missy is really terrorizing the place. It makes so many people sick. Me not like Missy. And I'm like, Mom, it's not Missy. But this is for anybody who has met my mother and has a nickname, because everybody will get a nickname because she's so bad with names, will understand. Not even coronavirus, she will call by name.
But I'm still like, and Kinte saying you have you have not came out to your parents yet?
No, I didn't have my big coming out. It hasn't been that long. I just started doing this last year.
Yeah, but hold on. How many shows have you done?
3?
And you haven't are you afraid to tell them, or like what's the story?
No, honestly, I think my parents, I overwhelm them when I tell them how much I do. Because like I was when I told them I was speaking at a conference in Ireland in the fall, they're like, you don't sleep, like you don't take time to rest. But my mom calls me hotfoot from when I was a
Oh,
child.
hold on, hold
Because
on.
from I was a child,
Hold
I
on a
like to be out and
second.
about.
Hold on a second. Hot foot.
Hot
You
foot.
know you can't get away with
Because
it.
I'm always out and about.
Hot foot. Okay. All right. I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it's not a bad thing.
no, okay. I have to meet your mother one day. I have to meet your mother.
Listen, I've had people who I honestly there could be a lineup to meet my mother because everybody wants to see what their nickname is going to be. I think to date, my favorite, she calls one of my friends Mop the Floor.
You're joking.
No, that's what she calls him.
Why?
Because we were at the house and he fell on the floor laughing and was kind of swishing around. And she said, boy, I'd like him to mop the floor with his sweatshirt. And from that, he's been mop the floor. It's a lot of the nicknames are association, right? So she sees a behavior, she remembers part of their outfit, and that's it. That's what she locks into.
I want to shout out to Dre on the Get Vocal platform because I'm just shaking my head, and I know I'm going to do more shaking my head and more crying of tears during this conversation. And Kinte says he's scared of what his would be.
Listen, some people are scared. Most people look forward to it. But she, like I
Oh,
said, anybody who meets her, it explains me because I'm only a portion of the large personality that she is.
oh my goodness, that's
I
great.
almost want Bish to tell you a story about the curry goat. Because my mom managed
Okay,
to traumatize somebody with curry goat. Look at your face.
do you want to tell the story,
I will tell the story. So I
please?
had some people over, and my mom was the type of person that you could say you just came from the Mandarin and ate for 3 hours straight. Okay, well, we just cook something. We just want you to sample it. And she puts a big plate of food in front of you.
So
So here's some people.
just to interrupt for people who are not from the Toronto, Mandarin is a Chinese buffet place. So everyone who's some of the people here are from the States, so they have no
Yeah,
idea. It's a very well-known Toronto buffet place. I have a number of locations in Toronto. So back to your story, so I can make they have some relevance or can
some
relate. Go on.
context. Yes, absolutely. So this particular occasion had some people over and she made curry goat. And so we're like, okay, let's go get some food. And my mother has a habit of not always using serving spoons to serve food. I've seen her use a drinking mug to scoop the rice. She
I've
took a
seen that.
saucer.
What?
She took a saucer and not the
No,
smallest size saucer, not the one for your
no,
tea, the middle
no.
size saucer, and scooped the curry goat and put Mount Olympus, aka curry goat, on this man's plate. And then had the nerve to put about 6 bags of rice with it and was trying to get him tea because she's like, Helly Maga, I need more food.
Okay, now we got to stop because again, especially my American posse won't know what is MAGA.
Maga. Skinny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
know what?
she
I
was,
can relate
I think, doing her
having
portion to fatten him up. But she gave him so much curry goat. I don't think he ate curry goat for a decade after that.
Yes, Bish Funny says yes, the curry goat. When the man said he only wanted a little curry goat, and she still gave him 10 pounds of goat.
That's my mama.
Oh my goodness! You know what? We have to get your mother on. We got to
Oh
find
my
a
God.
way. Oh,
I
but
think really Bish and I could just do a show about experiences with my mom.
yes, I think okay. I'm gonna hold you both to that. We're gonna. I just want you and Bish to come on and just talk about your mother's stories because I think like I think you almost need to make that as a maybe a book. Write a book of your mom's story. Well, Dre is saying Canadians have their own language. Well, we're not talking about Canadians. We're talking about
Oh,
Jamaicans
no,
here
that's the
have their own
Caribbean.
language. He says a Toronto woman called me sweet man. Called me sweet man. I told her that I'm attracted to women. LOL.
Oh my goodness. I
I
think
don't know if
sometimes
you
we
want me.
forget the differences and nuances in language because I'm like, sweet man, take it as a compliment.
Yes, yes. So enough time with your mother. What is your repertoire? What do you like sharing about on a stage, whether it's a formal stage or a digital space? Because you did say does our relationships some of the things you chat about.
Yeah, so I've talked about my I would like to say hit and misses with dating, but it's really about misses mostly in the
Okay.
dating world. I've met some special people. And I think what God did is he decided, let her be a mental health expert so she understands the unique mind of certain types of people. So when she meets people who aren't necessarily diagnosable, but just a little on the special side, she can handle it. Because I've met some very special people.
Oh,
So a
okay.
lot of what I've talked about is yeah, relationship stuff and just the experiences I've had meeting men and dating men and yeah, that the
Okay.
material writes itself.
I hear you. So just looking here on the Get Vocal platform, Kinte says, "Sweet means you have sugar in your tank in the United States." Oh gosh, all
Oh,
right. And then, and I'm not even going to touch that. Bish Funny is saying, "Oh gosh," she said, "Yeah, about our curry goat man or mop the floor man." She goes, "The last time I saw him, he said he has never looked at curry goat the same after that."
I think he breaks into a cold sweat when there's curry goat around.
Oh my gosh. And she's also saying about your mother, she's too much, love her. And she's cracking up about sweet man. She says cracking up about the sweet man. That's that is good. Uh, what do you enjoy about comedy? Performing comedy.
Um, I just like making people laugh. There's just something really enjoyable about taking these stories and you know you put it together in a way that's packageable from a comedy perspective. But it's just really nice the vibe, being with people in their moments where they're laughing and they're smiling. Like I said, I work in mental health, so I see a lot of tears, I see a lot of pain,
Yep.
and it's nice to see another side. And just there's a lot of pain in the world, and so to have moments where we're united by the things that make us happy and by laughing and enjoying ourselves, I really enjoy that.
Is comedy, performing comedy, a relief and or a release for you?
I think a little bit. I think it there is a way that it's kind of blowing off some steam and just getting, you know, some stuff out. And sometimes, you know, I've processed some of these things, but sometimes doing it with a group is a different way to do it, you know, and proves to be helpful to me too.
Right. Good stuff. Greetings to one of my Canadian viewers, supporters, Luke from Windsor. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, when and I had something in my mind and it sort of slipped. How are you a better comedian now than when you first started?
Um, One of the things that ambitious, you know, encouraged me with this is just understanding that it's not as simple as being funny. You got to study it as a craft. You know, people sometimes go, okay, well, that person has natural talent playing baseball, but do they recognize how many hours they commit to their craft and to their art form a week or a month or what have you? It's even with so called natural talent, it is still something that you work towards, that you work at, that you study. And I think all of that stuff has been helpful. And like I said, I watch everything. I always get a video and I watch it again to look at what I liked about it, what I think didn't work well, what strengths to draw on. And so, um, I don't just take for granted that I heard people laughing and I see people laughing in the video, and then that means I'm doing great. It's still something that I look at how I can improve this.
Excellent. When so, and I really appreciate that you take it as a craft and you study, and you're willing to do the work. That I'm really impressed by that. When Bish first approached you about this online comedy event that's happening this Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, what was your first reaction?
Oh, I was all about it. I was totally in. And then I started thinking, so the funny thing is I was enthusiastic to begin with, and then I started thinking about what does that really look like and what does that really mean?
Ah,
Um, and so like I said, like I move around a lot. Um, I do comedy with my whole body. So that's going to be a bit more challenging. But I like trying new things and I like challenges. So I'm looking forward to seeing how being a little bit more still, I still have that opportunity. What else can I do to bring out the comedy and bring out the humor in a situation and whatever story I'm telling?
excellent, excellent. Uh, when do you know you've done a good performance?
Um, like I did say, I don't hear a lot of the laughter, but I can hear enough that I recognize and people and reading facial expressions. Um,
Mhm.
the very the very first show I did, I had something. It was afterwards that I heard that actually really said something to me because I did a joke where part of it was part of what I was saying became predictable. And I could in and so my cousin was recording with my phone, and I could hear off to the side somebody when I would say such and such, I would say blah, blah, blah. And then the obvious next line would come every time they said it. And that to me was a mark that they were totally in. And I think the
Right,
knowing that you've captured the attention and you've got them wanting what you're offering is a sign that you're doing well.
excellent. Kinte has a question here saying, "Is there such a thing as a bad crowd?"
Is there such a thing as a bad crowd? I haven't experienced it yet,
Okay.
fortunately. Um, I think, I don't think a bad crowd means they're not laughing. I think a bad crowd would be a bunch of rude people who were talking too much and, or maybe like a lot of heckling type thing, and just being disrespectful. That to me would be a bad crowd. Um, you know,
Mm.
I'm trying to make everyone laugh, but I have to respect that. That doesn't mean that what I think is funny is what everybody thinks is funny. So a lack of laughter doesn't necessarily to me mean bad crowd. I just think it would be maybe if the crowd were like, it's one thing if you're not engaged because I'm not presenting something that you're engaged in, but if they're just disrespectful, I might then more lean to the idea that that's a bad crowd.
Excellent. Do you watch other comedians at all?
Yes. And this is
So,
I've done that a lot before I even thought of doing comedy. I just
okay.
love to watch comedians on YouTube and on TV and
Okay.
other formats. So, and I go to comedy shows. So, something I've always enjoyed doing.
So, if you had a wish list or seen perform these comedians perform, who are the top three comedians that you pay attention to, admire at this time in your comedian journey?
Oh, who? Oh gosh, you didn't hear who my mother is. You think I'm good with names? uh, um, the boy on that channel, and let me see, who are some of the comedians I really like. Um, I like Angela Johnson. So she's the
Okay.
one who became kind of famous from doing the nail bit, but I've watched all of her specials. She had one or two on Netflix, and she's great with accents and um, does some good clean humor, and I like that. Um, Without fail, I could always watch Sinbad. He just always makes me laugh.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just always love his
Intellectual
stuff.
humor.
Yeah, yeah.
Intellectual humor. Yes.
Um, and again, like he's really real too. Like he did this whole bit about marriage and aging and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I love it. Like it was just so funny. Um, and then I tend to more go for like I like just to watch different bits. Um, I'm just trying to think of some of the stuff that I've been watching lately. Like I watched Dry Comedy Bar online, and so that presents
Okay.
a number of different humor comedians. And there's a oh goodness, what's his name? Michael J
Oh,
or
hey,
something.
Michael, what?
Michael.
Does he host online stuff?
I don't
Is
know
it
for
is he a
sure.
Christian? Is he a Christian
He's a
comedian?
Christian comedian, the black guy who does the
Yes,
joke
I
about
don't know. I can't
the
remember his
names that
last name. It's
transfers.
Michael. Yeah, Michael C something. I can't
Okay,
remember
yeah.
his last
I like his
name, but
stuff
I know.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
I like
Just catching up
comedians
on
who
some.
I catch myself still making their jokes with myself out when I'm about. So like Angela Johnson did a joke and it's created an expression that I use in my own head.
Cool,
So things that
cool,
stick, I often tend to like comics like that.
excellent. Just want to catch up with comments here on the Get Vocal platform. Lucas saying, "I've seen a bad crowd. Funny comedian. I was the only one laughing. It was weird."
Wow. That must have been tough on the
Kinte
comedian.
says Kinte says his top three comedians right now: Robin Harris, Dave Chappelle, and the late Richard Pryor.
Wow. Good stuff.
Okay, let me go back. I know that Bish Funny has. I know that Bish Funny always has something to say, so I'm just going to catch up with her on the YouTube side. She goes, "Yes, there is a bad crowd. I think a good crowd is people who come to laugh and they want to be part of that. But some people come like quote make me laugh unquote, and they don't help you get them there." She goes like a lover that just lies there, so to
I
speak.
had the same thought and I was going to leave it alone, but she said it.
uh Jez, I can't. I'm gonna just say. I'm not gonna try and say. I'm gonna spell it out on YouTube. JSENAME says Trevor Noah. Bish
Yes.
Funny also
Like
says Roy Wood Jr. So we got a lot of different ones. I'm gonna have to start checking out some of these people.
I've seen
Lucas
Trevor
saying
Noah
back to
in
the get.
Toronto and I laughed till my face hurt.
You're kidding.
No, like really, my cheeks hurt. I laughed so hard when I saw Trevor Noah about 5-ish years ago in Toronto. Before he was doing the Daily Show, like all of that. I couldn't believe how much I laughed.
You're no.
Yeah,
I don't get a chance to watch. I don't watch a lot of TV, but he was on the other night, and he was hilarious.
he's really
I
funny.
mean, he was so funny. I mean, I said, "Yeah, I've been missing a lot. Definitely, definitely." Lucas saying Dave Chappelle, ID at it, ID. He's saying the best. He's saying Dave Chappelle's the best. So everyone has their own takes. But hey, if there's someone you haven't heard of before, go check them out. I'm sure they have some material online. What are you excited about for this Sunday?
I'm excited to, and this is not the only online comedy show. I've seen other people doing it since we've been on our, isolation and, what feels like lockdown. But I'm
Yep.
excited about being a part of creating some positivity in a time where some people are finding it hard to be positive and providing some relief from the stress that has come with this drastic change to how we live our lives.
Okay. Give me some vision boarding. Where would you like to be with this lovely comedy journey in 2 years?
I'll see. That's an interesting way to put it because I haven't necessarily thought of where I'd like to go with it. I'm more just curious to see where it takes me. Whereas
Good.
several years ago, I would have been more closed and resistive, but now I'm just like, Nope, I feel like I've hopped on the train and I'm letting the conductor drive and just you take me where you're going. I'll know which places I don't need to stop at.
Fair enough. And just correcting what Luke said last time, he says Dave Chappelle is the best.
Oh,
So he's a big Dave Chappelle fan. Where would you be without Bish Funny?
where would I be without Bish Funny? um, I had a visual of me hanging from a tree crying. So I am a wear it on your sleeve, heart emotional person, and Bish is much more pragmatic, and she keeps me off the ledge. So I think
Have
I
you
would.
two ever
Sorry,
have you two ever performed together?
we did a skit with her, myself, and one other person at the very first show.
Would love to see you two together.
Yeah,
Would love to see that. That would be fabulous. When you gonna tell your parents?
I'll call them tonight. Like, yeah, it's really nothing. Like it's just one of those. I would probably just mention in passing. Yeah, yeah. I started doing some stand up com because the funny thing is, I hadn't mentioned it, and then I posted something to social media, and my sister who lives in St. Kitts was like, "You're doing comedy? Oh my god!" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I started doing that, like because I've been intentional about living my life with curiosity. I'm not surprised when things come into my life. And so because it's not a big deal as much, I don't often remember to go, oh, by the way, this is now happening. I'm just like, hey, it's something new. Let me try it. I'll go with it while it's there. And when it leaves, right?
Very nice. Kinte saying, tell them live via on IG. Tell them
Oh, no, no, they don't do technology. I
no.
get emails that say, please call your parents to let them know this. And texts. Like when I say don't, and the joke is don't do technology. Only one of them, my mom's the only one with a cell phone, but she is very stush. And so she has to, oh, I have the latest when Blackberries were, I have the latest Blackberry, Yes, but you don't know what to do with it. It doesn't matter. I just know that mine is one of the top of the line. And I'm like, look here, top of the line, and you can't use a damn function, don't mean anything. But she just needs to know that she's got one of the best and she's content. But it's interesting. This pandemic has. She called me and she said, "When this is over, can you teach me how to do things like text?"
Oh,
And so she wants to because she's recognizing the difference when in not connecting with people and hearing that other people have all these options that she can't partake in because she's not familiar. She can
yes.
read a text message, but she doesn't know how to send one.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure you can relate this of being of Jamaican heritage. My dad, he has this tendency saying my internet. And I say, you don't, I said, Dad, you don't own the internet. It took me a few years to get him past that.
Yeah.
Like, and here's a gentleman, highly educated, 38 years as a teacher, my internet. Now, and I know people are going to say, well, he's probably talking about his in his home. I go, no, he took it like it's his
Is it
own
one? I love it. I love it. My internet.
you know,
Let me give you one more joke about
like,
my mom then when it comes to internet. They moved to Niagara Falls and
oh,
bought two smart TVs. So when they called the local
uh-oh,
cable company down there and said, we've got these TVs, and they said, well, you don't just need cable, you need internet. And we're going to give it to you 6 months for free. So
okay,
because they didn't really understand it, the stuff was written out because they knew when I came down, I would be able to take advantage of this thing. So my mom being the ultimate hostess, she had some people who had been helping her move some stuff in and we're sitting down and I said, oh, let me get on the Wi-Fi. And I, logged in with my phone or whatever. And so did somebody else who was younger. And, being the ultimate hostess, she comes up to check later and she says, I just wanted to check. How is the high five working for, oh no. Yeah. I was like, it's not exactly called high five,
Oh,
but like I said, she doesn't call anything right. So I really shouldn't be surprised at this point in my life.
oh, Luke's going LOL. Kinte's going LOL. Uh, Kinte's going Natasha, the text instructor comedian. Oh my, oh that. Well, folks, we're going to wind it down here. You're getting a sampling of what we're going to be experiencing Sunday, 5:30 Eastern time. I've put the link in the chat on Get Vocal. I'm also now just going to quickly put it in the YouTube replay so you can check it out. Uh, Lady Day, thank you for bringing tears of joy to my eyes,
You're most
to you and
welcome.
your mother. How, if people want to find out more about you, how can they do that?
Well, I've discovered that since I'm gonna actually do this more than once, I probably should have some kind of social media. So I've only started with Instagram. So I have an empty Instagram account at with the handle at Lady Day Comedy. I might change that, um, but that's I'm gonna start getting into some social media to be able to address this stuff. Um, but in the meantime, I have my handle at Natasha A. Halliday, Halliday. That's my Instagram account. And I have a Facebook page more related to some of the other stuff that I do. But it would
Yeah.
sometimes highlight some of this stuff as well.
Kinte, Luke and Kinte are now having some fun because Luke's going adorable mom. Kinte's going, can she teach me how to text after she teaches her mama?
Shame. The sad thing is,
And
I'm IT support at work. Like when people don't know what to
oh my
do, they call
gosh.
me.
Oh my, oh gosh. Well, folks, like I said, Sunday afternoon, you may be having bun and cheese. She Kinte, do you mean the IT girl or the it girl? She is the it girl.
I'll take all of the above.
Yes, he's saying the it girl. So this is what you're gonna get on Sunday. I'm hosting. I think I'm gonna have a box of Kleenex because I think I'm gonna be dropping. Yes, Kinte says can't wait. Well, you've got the link in the chat, Kinte. So make look, Lady Day's mama gonna come after you if you don't attend.
And you don't want that.
You don't want that. You don't want that. For everybody else, if you check out Everbright, the information is on Everbright.
Eventbrite,
The
sorry.
name of the show, pardon me?
Eventbrite. Yes.
Eventbrite. So I say Everbright. Eventbrite. I can't even speak because I'm laughing. Just check out, go on Eventbrite and go, just key in April Fool's Bun and Cheese Edition and you'll get all the information. Click on there. It's no charge. All you got to do is put yourself in your computer. Wear something decent above your waist. We don't care what you wear underneath your waist, but just wear something. Look at this. Kinte's, you see, Kinte's on fire. I goes like, I will put in my order of chicken curry, by the way. So, and this is the thing too. And you know, I correct me if I'm wrong, Bish Funny, but if people are in the GTA area and they want to order food, they will be able to do that. So correct me if I'm wrong, Bish Funny. Correct me quick before I sign off. But I'd like to just thank the people who made this an epic conversation. Of course, Lady Day herself, Kinte, Luke, Catherine. We also had Anthony on for a little bit. We had Dre on a little bit. Those are the people that jumped on via the Get Vocal platform. And then, of course, Bish Funny. Oh, gosh. Look at this. Free or pay. Oh, yeah. Free or pay what you can for the event. It's changed now. She says, no, they have to cook it for them damn
Shame.
selves.
Shame.
All right. So Bish Funny is laying down the law. So ignore what I said before. You're there just to watch comedy. So Mr. OJ says, hi, mom. Okay.
I will let her know.
Yes. You see, mom's, the demand is out for mom now. Oh
She'll love it.
gosh. I gotta add this one. So I've got to make sure Jay Sename says,
Hey,
don't
Juliet.
tell, don't, yeah, she's going, just don't get Auntie on WhatsApp. That's, then it's over for you.
Oh, listen, she can't even get that straight. She asked
Uh,
me, "So did you get a message on the Chats Up?" It's not called Chats Up, but I'm like, Chats Up would
no, don't
actually be
even,
a
no, no,
really
no.
good
You
name.
need to let,
I think Chats Up would
no,
be a great platform for a messaging service, albeit she called it
chat,
wrong. But I think Chats Up would be a very good name for a messaging service.
chats up.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
Jamaican
hey,
version. Midapan Chats Up.
and some good news for you and Bish Funny. Kinte just put in his order in. So Kinte's going to be there.
Awesome,
Okay.
Kente. I can't wait to see you again on Sunday.
Kinte, thank you so much for your support. As always, brother, well, he's become a brother from another mother for me. So that is it. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of epic conversations. The host of Epic Conversations, 2018 award winner in the innovation category, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and recently co-host of monthly fatherhood conversations that are sponsored by Dove Men Care in Canada. As always, I like to close off with these things. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Thank you, Lady Day, for a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
I am looking so much to hosting this event on Sunday. And again, everybody, check it out on Sunday. I'm telling you, you are going to have a great time. And maybe Lady Day as a surprise will bring her mother. No,
If
that's
she wasn't
another.
2 hours away, I might just do that. But um,
There
we'll
you
have
go.
to, if
So,
only she knew how to do some of this stuff, we could bring her in, online. But that's going to take some
well, just bring
lessons.
the laptop. Oh, look at this. Oh, there's conversations going on all over the place. She goes, look at this. So she's going, sorry, Lady Day. Godson number 2 hacked the chat about hi mom. Mr. OJ, Kafela in this too. Bitch funny. Teens gone wild. Will you two stop it? And again, on Eventbrite, April Fools, the Bun and Cheese edition. All right, everyone, God bless, peace you well, keep the faith and walk good and stay safe.
Good night, everyone.
Please. Everyone's life matters.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Good night.